Our next one, number 29, that we're going to look at on page 186, deals with this equation. So again, we deal with the derivative of that. 2/3 comes down, x minus 1 to the 2/3 minus 1, which is 2/3 minus 3/3, negative 1/3 power, times the derivative of x minus 1, which is 1. And then we write this as a fraction, get rid of the negative exponent. 2 times 1 is 2 in the numerator, and 3 times the cube root of x minus 1 in the denominator. Okay? So, now we need to find the critical numbers. And the critical numbers here, well, we can't get a 0 out of this, but what we can do is get a 0 in the denominator, which makes it a vertical line right there for that. And in order for that to happen, then this x has to be 1, so we get 0 for that. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to get a graph for that right there. But what it does mean, however, is that that will be a critical number here. And we only have one number for that, which is 1. That is our critical number. Then, the critical point, you just plug that 1 in right here, and that becomes 1 minus 1 to the 2/3 power, which is 0. So the critical point becomes 1 comma 0. And we're only going to have 2 intervals, so this is going to be between them. So let's see what happens. Interval number 1 is going to be going from negative infinity to 1. So I'm going to pick 0. So test 0. Now I go to the slope for that. I get 2/3. I'm sorry, I'll use this right here. 2 over 3 times the cube root of 0 minus 1. Well, 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Cube root of negative 1 is negative 1. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. So this becomes negative 2/3. That is a negative value. So that means that this is decreasing. Now, I warn you, if you're going to use your calculator on this to figure this out, in case you're not, can't come up with a cube root of negative 1, which it happens a lot. Type this in as 2 divided by parenthesis, 3, and then there's a cube root button in your math button. Hit that, and then parenthesis 0 minus 1, parenthesis, parenthesis, and you should get negative 0.666667. I too can do this. So this is 1, 2, positive infinity. So we're going to test 2. That's the number between them. And I like to use nice small numbers. We'll test 2 with 2 over 3 times the cube root of 2 minus 1. Well, 2 minus 1 is 1, cube root of 1 is 1, 3 times 1 is 3. So this gives us a positive 2/3, which means that this is increasing. So that means that this is going to be going down, coming back up, and the point right here, our critical point is 1, 0. And that will be a minimum, relative minimum. Okay? Last one. Number 35. F of x equals x squared over x squared minus 9. Alright, so I'm going to play games with our quotient rule. So this is going to be x squared minus 9 times the derivative of x squared, which is 2x. And because it's quotients, this is subtraction here. And then the x squared times x squared minus 9 derivative, which again is 2x. And then we all over the square of this denominator, x squared minus 9 quantity squared. So I'm going to have to do some algebra work on top here and then combine stuff if I can. So this is 2x times both of these gives me 2x cubed minus 18x. And this gives me negative x squared times 2x, which is negative 2x cubed over x squared minus 9 quantity squared. Oh, look at that. Look at that. You get to cancel some stuff out. Makes life a tad easier. And this becomes negative 18x over x squared minus 9 quantity squared for my derivative value. Now to find my values of c, I set that equal to 0. Well, first of all, if this becomes 0 down here, then we're going to have critical points because we're going to have a vertical slope there. So, x squared minus 9, this is for the critical numbers, x squared minus 9 equals 0. We're dropping the square there because it's going to, you take the square root of 0, get 0. So we'll just drop the square there for this. And that means then that x equals, x equals negative 3 and 3. And then we do it for the numerator, and yes, we can get a 0 for that as well. So we set that equal to 0. Negative 18x equals 0, which means x is going to equal 0. So our critical numbers here are going to be negative 3, 0, and 3. So now we've got 4 intervals for this. Okay? So the first interval is going to go from negative infinity to negative 3. So I'm going to test with negative 4. Right? So this is going to give me negative 18 times x, which is negative 4, over, and then this becomes negative 4 squared minus 9, all squared. And that gives me positive 72 on top. And this gives me 16 minus 9, which is 7. 7 squared is 49. But the most important thing about that is this is a positive value, which means then that this is going to be increasing. Okay, so now we go to I2. I2 is going to go from negative 3 to 0. So I'm going to test with negative 2. When I do that, negative 18 times negative 2 over negative 2 squared minus 9 quantity squared equals 36 over 25. And that is increasing. But what's important here is this isn't changing, so there's this negative 3 value is not going to be a maximum or minimum. It can't be because it's not creating anything that we can deal with. So there's no maximum or minimum for this. We go for increase means it's going to be doing a little bit of this. So that's not going to allow it to happen. I3. This is going to be from 0 to 3. So I'm going to test with 2. Negative 18 times 2 over 2 squared minus 9 squared. And that gives me negative 36 over 25. And so that's going to decrease. And this will have a maximum or minimum. We'll figure that out with the 0. And then I4 is going to go from 3 to infinity. So I'm going to test with 4. So negative 18 times 4 over 4 squared minus 9 squared gives me negative 72 over 25, or 49 rather. And that is negative. So that decreases as well. So there's no minimum or maximum here. Here, however, if I go to the 0 right there, if I plug that in right here, 0 over negative 9 gives me 0. So the critical point is the 0, 0. That's going to fit in right here. And going from increasing to decreasing, this is going to create a relative mass for that critical point. Relative mass. Okay? Your assignment is page 186, 18, 24, 28, 32, and 38. Have fun!